Let's do something different. Hello and welcome back to Bold of You to Say. It is the host that is the most, me, and I'm here with him.
Hold on. Let's do a bit, okay? So just keep starting the show. Pretend to be the host, and I'm gonna participate in the bit.
Okay. I have to work on my improv. Hello and welcome back to another fantabulous episode.
I'm trapped in the basement. Oh no.
Welcome back to
far away
Bold of
from
You
the
to
mic,
Say.
and that means that I'm in the basement.
I am your only host, the Supreme Overlord.
Let me out. Oh my gosh, I'm trapped in the basement.
Today we're going to talk about Star Wars, and there's no one in my basement.
No.
There's no one there.
Too.
That he's not there.
Host.
I'm in charge now.
He's the imposter.
This
sus.
is Bold of You to Say.
Jared is sus. He's the imposter. I saw him venting.
Wow. You think my fat ass can fit in a vent?
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to a very special episode of Bold of You to Say. This episode is special because it was actually very well planned out. Maptpat did a video that we all disagree with. Me, Jared, and Gavin, our special guest for today's episode.
We got one of our OG boys back in.
One of the boys we got the OG crew back together for one last job.
Like, hey, Gavin, you want to come? He's like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah. And I was telling Jared about the plan for this episode, and I was like, he was like, do you think we'll be able to pull it off? And I was like, yeah, I think we'll be able to do it with a little help from an old friend. And then cut to a montage of us going to Gavin's house and kidnapping him, bringing him to our studio, which is just the internet. So we put him inside of a network switch box, and that is where he will remain for the rest of time.
However, he still will not be here consistently. You'll have to excuse him.
Yeah.
Even after we turned him into Skynet, he still is very busy.
So today's episode was about Star Wars because we are unofficially a Star Wars podcast. Next week's episode will be different. We'll be talking about Spider-Man probably. So stay tuned for that. I will bring up
Star Wars at some random point just so we stay on brand.
Of course.
We are the Bold of You to Say, the unofficial Star Wars podcast.
Our social media is linked in the description, so you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. My TikTok will be linked down below. I just posted a new video, very exciting. If you disagree with anything we said in today's episode, you can yell at us there. There are also timestamps down below in the description. Usually there's a lot of timestamps because we talk about a lot of different stuff. This week there's probably not going to be many timestamps, just, first impressions of the Maptpat video, the specifics of why the video is incorrect, and then at the end we will break down why exactly it matters. So if you want to skip to any portion of today's episode, you can. It'll be listed out down below.
Yeah.
So without any further ado, let's just jump into it.
Yeah, come with me, gang, into this wonderful world.
I don't know how. Okay, I don't know how, but somehow I just tasted your burp there. And I don't know, over the power, I heard the blurp and I was like, ugh.
That's my secret power. That's my mutant ability. I make other people taste my burps so I don't have to.
You're like the nostalgia critic.
A reverse nostalgia critic. You experience it so I don't have to.
So I made you guys watch this Maptpat video. Jared, I know you're upset about it.
I hate Maptpat so much.
Yeah, I just want to, before we get into the details, which I have thoroughly written out, which, by the way, if you want, you can keep track of my points. I sent the doc link in the in general.
Yeah, I read that and I realized I could have just read that and said I watched the video, and I probably would still get the gist of it.
But I would be able to tell.
You made me watch it. I had to watch his PowerPoint presentation on why Hitler wasn't a bad guy.
All right. So what's first on the menu here today? What's
So before we get into the specifics, I want to get your general reaction to the film theory video.
Yeah, so he is talking like, okay, so economically, yes, the empire, it works out. Like if you do the math, it works out, but that's only because the empire is the sole power that says something is worth something.
Yeah.
So like that's why it works, right? Furthermore, yeah, well, that's it. There's no furthermore. So when it comes to like, they're raising kids from like childhood to be a part of the empire, indoctrinating people to be a part of the empire. It's like,
Well,
yeah,
I think you're thinking of the First Order. The First Order is the one that kidnaps children.
Yeah. They're like, how terrible is this? And they're like, but also the Jedi did that too. And it's like, yeah, the Jedi did that too. But here's the big but here.
I like
the Jedi
big
did.
butts.
Oh, and I cannot lie.
The Jedi basically were like a boarding school you couldn't leave from. It like
Maptpat literally said,
"Oh, here we go, guys. I got something.
The Jedi are evil.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie. And the Jedi Order, I can't defy."
Oh my god, no! But like the thing about that pisses me off is like the Jedi Order. Yeah, they took kids in, but they were more like a school. They didn't put them on the front lines with an assault rifle.
There's that, but also
that's
you could leave
true.
the Jedi Order. You were capable of leaving the Jedi Order. I mean, it wasn't like terribly easy, but like
yeah, you could leave though.
That was an option.
It's like basically comparing going to an elementary school to being a child soldier in Uganda.
You know, here's the thing.
I'm not going to completely defend the First Order or the Jedi Order, but out of the two, I will defend the First Order a lot less.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
Fair.
I mean,
here's what happens if you try to leave.
Just a Hitler speech.
Here's what happens if you try to leave the First Order, right? You go, hey, Kylo. You go, hey, Kylo, I really don't want to be a part of this anymore. And he goes, all right, I guess that's fine. Get into that shuttle there that doesn't have a heat shield or anything. We're just going to shoot you off into this fucking planet. And you're just going to die.
You see, the First Order does have a system, though, where you put in your 2 weeks. Only it's not your 2 weeks until you quit. It's 2 weeks until they kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, during that entire 2 weeks, they
give you a 2 week notice.
But so furthermore about the Empire and their treatment with the Ewoks, right? They did treat the Ewoks like pretty neutrally. They were like, we don't give a shit about you. But
because they couldn't see themselves like extorting the Ewoks. Like what could they get out of a group of teddy bears? If they were the size of Wookiees and they were strong like Wookiees, they would be enslaved just like Wookiees.
That's what they did. So that's what I was about to say. So like, you know what they did? Do you know why they decided to build the Death Star around Kashyyyk?
Endor.
You mean Ewok? Or Endor? I mean,
well, was it Endor or was it Kashyyyk?
It was Endor, because Kashyyyk is the Wookiee homeworld. Endor is
it was actually the forest moon of Endor.
You want to get stabbed?
So I just sound like a fucking idiot now. But anyway, they built it around the forest moon of Endor because they could get it really close and have shield generators from the planet protecting the Death Star. But also
that's prime property too. Like the view, gorgeous.
Oh, just gorgeous, just beautiful. Like a good place to good place to wake up and just, have a cup of coffee, wind down, watch a planet get blown up, like woof.
And also, having a lot of trees is useful,
especially when
I assume they still have stuff made of wood.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea that the people stationed on that planet all use vehicles that go faster than any normal vehicle in the most dense jungle.
Oh, right.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, you got to imagine that they have like paths planned out at least, like some kind of cleared out trails.
Here's my thing: they have walkers though. Like they use those on the snow planet, where it would be more detrimental to use a walker, instead of using it on the jungle planet, where using a walker would be pretty useful. Because like, what if you walk into a bog?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
boom, it can just
But
crawl
like
out because
also,
it's
if
a
you're in a
fucking
fucking
walker.
if you're in a walker, you trip once, you're done. Like you can't get up. Like
And if
you
you're on a
trip.
speeder, you crash into one tree, you're done.
Oh
You,
no!
you
If you're
flip
on,
on a speeder, you're done. The
wait,
G-force?
how fast do they
Ooh.
go? Is it like 300 miles per hour or something?
I think so. Maybe
Damn.
more.
It's like at least as fast as Mike driving the seeds truck. Ayo, callback.
Oh my
It's a
God.
callback to an episode that you weren't, like you guys weren't in.
So we're
Oh.
talking about motorcycles that go as fast as like a Cessna.
Basically. Jinx.
Damn. Like
You owe me a Coke. I said it first, so you buy me soda now.
Fuck you.
this just sounds like a bad idea. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, I think they would have just enslaved the Ewoks and done something once they figured out like what to do with them.
Shit, fam, they should have just done that as soon as they got there. Like, you know how useful these tiny little teddy bears could be?
At least for the meat.
I mean, not just for the meat, though, but like, think of all like the mining planets they have. Boom, they don't have to worry about keeping these guys warm. They got a thick fur on them.
And you
They're
know
small,
what?
so they can get into those deep crevices.
And you know what? An Ewok makes a great holiday gift for your loved ones.
Yeah,
you know, just stuff up,
domesticate
Oh yeah,
the
Ewoks
fuck
were
out.
the
just stuff
original
them.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, see?
just stuff one.
If
just,
I was in
kill an
charge of
Ewok.
the Empire, I would totally enslave those merchandising opportunities.
No, if you were Disney, you mean?
What's the difference?
Oh,
Heyo.
oh, sue us. Haha.
Sue us, please. I beg of you, sue me.
Sue me, I dare. You know what? That's what I want to say. Like, you know those anti-maskers who come into like stores and they're like, I don't have to wear a mask. I have a constitutional right. Like, I want them to come into CVS and just be like, you can't do shit to me. I have a constitutional right. And I'll be like, no, get out. And they'll be like, I'm going to sue you. And I'll want to be like, yeah, sue me. I want you to
said
sue
that
me.
to one of them.
We don't
back
serve
when-
their kind.
Back when Ryan
What?
and I would do
You're
that.
anti-maskers. You'll have to leave them outside.
Oh my god! You have to leave them outside.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like chain him to a fire hydrant.
Stay.
God damn it.
So anyway, the Maptpat video. Gavin, do you have any other first impressions that you wanna
Yeah.
talk
so,
about before we move on to Jared's
So-
reaction?
Yeah, he talks about how under the what was the Galactic Republic, right? Under the
Yeah.
Galactic Republic, planets in the Outer Rim were kind of shoved under the rug there. They weren't really paid attention to.
Almost like
that
there was
much-
a constant war going on.
No, it's almost
and
like
that is a point that I
so,
want to get to later.
here's the thing.
By the way,
Here's the thing. The Empire was an empire. It was a totalitarian dictatorship, right? One
Yeah.
person had all the power, and that is good in some senses where you can get law and order in some places that were otherwise like not really accessible through a democratic system, right?
well,
so,
you get fast decisions, but the
Exactly.
trouble is it's just some guy's decision.
Yeah.
Exactly. And who knows if that person is actually going off of actual data or actually like talking to people to make sure he's making the right decisions, right?
I mean, most of the time it's just something they reckon.
Yeah,
I
like-
reckon we ought to take Poland.
Well, okay, but to that too, to that point too. Like for instance, you know what the Tarkin doctrine was?
That
Yeah,
was
that book.
referenced in the Maptpat video.
Yeah, the idea that if you just show planets excessive force, the very sight of your like power will make them just surrender. But we saw that through the rebellion that wasn't really true.
Yeah.
But let
Well,
me
it's
talk
like
about
it's like the old saying, "Speak softly and carry a big stick."
big stick. Yeah. But let me talk
Except
about the
their big
Galactic
stick
Republic.
is more of a ball, so
That's
you
true.
gotta have your stick and balls.
Well,
I do want to
but
point
I'm
out, though, using the Tarkin doctrine is like using Hitler's Mein Kampf to justify Nazism. Like,
yeah,
of course he's
It-
going to
it's
talk
like-
big game. He's the leader of that organization.
yeah.
Well, it's like, the Empire is
The
correct
Grand
according to this
Moff.
doctrine published by the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just-
here, let me talk about the Republic for a second. So, in a democracy, right, it's up to the legislators of each individual planet to bring a senator to the Galactic Senate to advocate for them, right?
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about the Senate
now-
if you are the Senate.
Haha, but I'm
Big brain time.
now, I don't know how their electoral system works. If they have like an electoral college where
Poorly.
some planets have more say than others, or what?
Jar Jar said a single sentence, and then the Emperor became the Emperor. So I
That's
want to
true.
say it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
Jar Jar is the Electoral College.
But here's
That
the
is
thing.
a very bad idea.
Misa is electoral college.
Misa reckon we ought to take Poland.
Fuck you.
Fucking Christ.
But it's the responsibility of each individual planet to give a senator that will advocate for the wants and needs of their planet, right? If your senator doesn't do that or is very corrupt, that's more of a reflection of the planet, in my opinion, than the democracy that the Republic offered.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that the banking clans, they had a couple senators, they were corrupt as all fuck. But is that really the fault of the Grand Army of the, or the not Grand Army of the Republic, but is that really the fault of the Republic, or is that their fault of the banking clan?
Well, it's the fault of the banking clan because the
Exactly.
Republic was its own separate organization to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Like that's like saying that that anything that Wat Tambar did that was fucked up is directly a fault of the Separatists.
Mm-hmm.
Like technically, because he's a high-ranking member in the Separatists, yes, but if you did that under the guise of his company, no, it would not.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of Outer Worlds being kind of pushed under the rug by the Republic, that's more of the galaxy talking, not necessarily the Republic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Anyway,
Yeah, and I do want to go into that in more detail later on.
Yeah. So I would argue that the only reason that the Empire was able to get control of the Outer Rim was because they had so much direct control straight from the Empire. But that's not how a democracy works, and it's very dangerous.
Well, I wouldn't even say that they have much control over the Outer Rim.
That's true.
They had like, where's Tatooine? Is Tatooine in the Outer Rim?
Tatooine is in the Outer Rim, but I mean, how much Empire presence do you really see there? I mean, they're policed.
I mean, they're everywhere in the spaceport and shit.
But
the only problem is there's still
who's really in
lawlessness
charge though? The
Darth
Hutts.
Vader.
The Hutts are in charge. Largely.
The Outer Rim is fucking the Hutt territory. They have to make deals with them constantly. That's why bounty hunters still exist on Tatooine, despite the Emperor having a doctorate against that.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into that more later.
Yeah.
Bold of you to say drinking game. Take a shot every time. We'll get into that later.
I'll get into you later. Okay, now is it my turn?
Don't tell, guys.
But no, I just hated that video though, because it's like a lot of it that he uses to justify why the Empire is a good choice is just saying that the Jedi were bad. That's not a good way of figuring out who's good and who's bad. That's like saying Mussolini was the good guy because Hitler was his partner. Like, yeah, he was also with the Nazis. However, he turned sides.
Well, and he also talks about how the Jedi were generals, right, in the GAR. Keep in mind, the GAR is the embodiment of the Senate in a militaristic sense, right?
Oh yeah.
So the Jedi are a completely separate organization from the Senate, right? They separate themselves from the Senate. Their only purpose is to make sure that the Senate stays true to itself.
Basically, the Jedi are like fucking like a group of wizards in their own little tower.
They're basically
it's like if Blackwater had political representation.
Yeah. I mean, the GIR, I mean, I would argue that the Jedi Order was the precursor to the GIR. Right? It was, so they were supposed to be peacekeepers, right? But they did have a weapon. They had a fucking laser sword that they could kill people with, right? If the need be. But they chose not to. And in any situation, they tried not to kill anyone. Right?
They definitely were more like monks and envoys than actual peacekeepers.
Yeah, well, they have kind of like a similar presence as like like, you know how the Vatican is technically like its own country,
Yeah.
and it's basically run by priests. It's like
Yeah.
if the Vatican was like part of a larger country, you know?
It's like if the Vatican was patrolled by guys with LMGs constantly.
No, it's like no. Think about it like this.
And
It's
they
like
send
if
they send the Jedi to do like diplomatic stuff because they're kind of like
they send a
priests
holy
in a
paladin
sense.
out real quick.
Yeah.
well, it's like if Vatican City was the system that tried to keep Italy like democratic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like
Yeah.
the Jedi was designed to prevent what happened with Chancellor Palpatine.
You know,
Right?
relating it in this way kind of makes me like the Jedi less.
Why?
Like I don't know, just
Well, yeah, you're not supposed
rephrasing
to like
it
the
as
Jedi.
like, yeah, I mean, just like the presence of the Jedi, like in government,
Mhm.
I'm liking it a lot less now. Just like, you
Yeah,
know,
and that's fair.
rephrasing it as like if the Vatican had
Mhm.
influence over like Italy.
Well, here's the deal.
Well, I mean,
in
that's
the
the
Star
thing,
Wars
though.
universe, there was measurable proof that the Force existed. Right? You
Yeah.
had guys that were able to jump like 3 stories high and move objects with their heads. Right? So like the Force was real.
Well, yeah, but that's not
everyone
where
could
their
see that.
doctrine ends.
I mean, but I think
their religious beliefs don't end at the Force is real and we can use it to lift shit. They go further and they say you should shut yourself off from all emotion if you're a part of this order.
Now we
And
get to
so-
talk about something I picked up from The Last Jedi because I want to point this out. I was like, that the whole point of the Jedi not being a good thing is like the whole purpose of The Last Jedi. Is like how Luke's all like disillusioned from it because he realizes, hey, this is kind of a shitty way of life. It's like none of it worked.
well, I mean, it did work for a millennia.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It worked for a millennia.
But
What
like
changed was the war, right? Originally, the Jedi were meant to be peacekeepers. They weren't meant to be generals.
yeah,
Yeah,
they were
and-
meant to be
and
generals.
Of course, the reason for the war breaking out and the Jedi having to become generals, it is due to external reasons, which we will
Well,
get
it was
to
due.
later.
It was due mainly due to the dark side, but to
Yeah.
imply that the dark side is in itself bad, I think is incorrect at looking in that view. You know what I mean? I don't think that the dark side is inherently bad. I don't think the good side is inherently good.
Yeah, it's what you do with it.
Mhm.
But in this instance, it was a dark side user, Palpatine, that was pulling the strings on both sides.
Definitely, yeah.
He was the bad guy.
He was the bad and good guy.
He was
Well, if you believe Maptpat, he was the good guy.
yeah, he was the good guy the whole time. You know,
He
everyone
brought
Palpatine,
so, like, okay.
watch me
Justice.
kill your friends.
Okay, here's the thing: the GAR already had peace and happiness, right? Or peace and prosperity, or whatever, stability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was Emperor Palpatine that eliminated that stability by causing the events of I think it was the Phantom Menace,
Mhm.
right?
The
the
Phantom
one who
Menace is what
orchestrated that.
kickstarts the Separatist Republic War.
Exactly.
I forget what
So
they call it.
Palpatine is the one who started that and threw everything off
Clone
kilter
Wars.
and made the Jedi into something that they are inherently not.
Yeah.
So
And that is a
That's
point that I had written down that I want to delve into for a little bit when we
okay,
get
fine.
to that
I'll
bullet
shut
point.
up, Alex. Jesus Christ. I
It's
love you,
just, like,
Alex.
So many of Maptpat's things he said though were just like so
No.
terrible comparisons.
No. Yeah, like each time I was like, no, that's not.
Yeah. Like I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I want to talk about it again. The whole the Jedi had child soldiers also thing.
You could
No, they
leave.
didn't. That again, it's like comparing going to school to joining Coney's
Yeah.
armies.
Mhm.
It's not the
Well, also,
same.
Did you do
In
any
one of them,
research
they
on?
give you a cool book. In the other one, they give you an assault rifle.
Mhm. Well, did you do any research on how the kids actually became Jedi? Like,
No, it's Maptpat. Do you think he does research on anything?
probably not.
He just says some
but-
random shit and hopes Scott Hawthorne puts it in his next Five Nights at Freddy's game.
Here's what they do.
I fucking
They
hate
detect a
Maptpat.
force sensitive child, right? They go to the
Yeah.
planet that the force sensitive child is at. They tell the parents, "Hey, force sensitive, we're going to take them." The parents either go, yeah, sure. They go, no, I don't want that. And then something happens in between that. But let's just say they take the child back to Coruscant, right? They put him through some trials and put him through some training where they do a couple years of training just at the Jedi Temple without a master, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, they do
Once they
a
get
special
to like 16, they put them out as a Padawan.
exactly. So they
Is it
bring them to the temple,
16?
train them. It's younger
either
than that.
16 or 17. It's not very
I thought it was
young, but it's older.
I thought it was younger
Yeah.
than that.
But anyway,
I don't think it's younger.
they basically
it doesn't
raise
seem
them.
like it is.
They basically raise them in the temple, and then they have a ceremony where they have a bunch of Jedi Masters, or I forget if it's Jedi Knights or Jedi Masters, but they have them like observe these Padawans doing what they do.
13.
Sorry, gotcha.
Sorry
Holy
to interrupt.
shit, it's
but,
13? I thought
yeah.
it was older.
yeah,
they have
so
a bunch of
you get selected as a Padawan at the age of 13. That's what
and
it
you
says.
you get selected as a Padawan by a master, and then you're just a Padawan, and then you have to go through some trials to become a knight, and you have to go through some more trials to become a master.
General Grievous killed a lot of kids.
He killed a lot of kids.
I'm just thinking about that now. He exclusively killed Padawans.
Like he was like, it's the equivalent of being like you know those little what are those things that babies suck on? What are they called?
Pacifiers.
Pacifiers. So it's
He just
like
adds them to his collection
no,
too.
like no, seriously though, like when General Grievous is like, oh, look at this lightsaber, I'll add it to my collection. Like they're looking at these lightsabers and being like, these are for Padawan. It's the equivalent of having a pacifier in your pocket, right? Like good job,
for every
you killed a
he
baby.
drowned.
You killed a baby as a cyborg. Great job.
General
Good
Grievous
job, General
exclusively
Grievous.
hunted children.
Wow, what a
I
brave,
can't think of that
powerful
anymore.
dude. You killed a
he
child.
basically accomplished something that like a larger than average Earth dog could do. Like it's not hard to kill a child.
It is not, unless they're force sensitive.
Yeah, unless they're like a force prodigy and they know how to like combat you, a giant cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I keep
it's not
thinking
gonna be
about
difficult.
the CGI cartoon. There's an episode where they go to General Grievous's house and he just murders a kid. I thought that person was supposed to be older. No, now this just puts it in a whole different light. That's so fucked up. He just kills a kid.
He pulls an Anakin Skywalker. Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing.
So
We're
anyway, Jared, your
the
first
guys that
impressions
did
for the
that.
Maptpat video.
Horrible. They were always horrible. Like, I could sit here and say that, you know, the Soviets weren't as bad as Adolf Hitler. That makes them the good guys.
Yeah.
That's basically what he said.
Jared, before we get into specifics, do you have any other general thoughts on the video before we get into it?
Yeah, another thing I want to point out, he keeps bringing up the client from The Mandalorian. He's like, this guy's just, you know, he proves that the Empire weren't bad. When in like the first episode of season 2 is like, by the way, we celebrated the night the Empire were gotten rid of because they were bad people.
Well,
and then someone else
he's
showed
clearly
up.
supposed to be like the old Nazis that like didn't get killed in Nuremberg.
I
guess.
Like the ones
Went
that just
to
kind of laid
hiding.
low, went to
Yeah.
Argentina. Like he's clearly like supposed to be like a parallel of that. And it's
And
like,
Maptpat's
well,
just
this
like, oh,
guy
he's a
says
good
that
guy.
Well, you see,
he says that the Empire improved every system it touched. So
I'm
like,
gonna
why
believe
wouldn't we
the
believe
shitty
him?
moisture farmers over the imperial
here's the thing.
officer.
Here's the thing. It's what
He
you
even
what-
says though, like, we're not going to take the Empire's promises at face value, and then he immediately takes their promises at face value.
Well, here's the thing
Yeah.
too. When they say improve, when they're like, "Oh, the Empire improved everything it touches," what's
No,
your
they
definition of
didn't.
improved? They're like, "Hey, get the like." See, the Republic would be like, "Hey, we need to take care of these homeless people because they're homeless and they need homes, and it'll clean up the street a little bit." You see, the Empire would be like, "Hey, there are homeless people. Let's just kill them. It'll get them out of the way."
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
And that's what
Yeah.
you call improvement. You can go fuck yourself. That's not improvement. It's genocide.
Like, fuck,
Exactly.
man. The only difference between, like, Mandalorian post-war Empire and, like, during the Galactic Empire is, like, now bounty hunters are a legal position. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
no longer a crime that you'll be executed for.
Well, do you know
Which,
of,
you know, take that as you will.
you know the there's a company that does exactly the same thing called Executive Outcomes
Yeah,
here, like in the world, like in our
the
world.
bounty hunters. I know.
They're
I think
basically,
there's Academy, which was what Blackwater used to be, which is
yeah.
what Blackwater is now. I'm sorry, I
Oh
messed
wow,
that up.
executive outcomes is a real thing. I thought you were doing a bit.
No,
No, these
executive.
are actual things. They're paramilitary organizations that you can
Oh no,
hire to do
I know that
stuff.
those exist, but I thought this was another like. Did you know that Mark Hamill killed his dad's boss?
No, Executive Outcomes is a real thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just googled it. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
How are private militaries fucking legal? How is war legal?
It's so that you can pay someone and be like, "Hi, I want you to commit what would be considered a war crime if we did it. So we want you to do it, and then say that you don't know who told
Citizens
you to do
United,
this."
man.
Citizens United.
That's what it is. I mean, let's be honest.
Money equals speech. I paid this
Mm-hmm.
person, telling them that I don't like this other guy.
But here's the funny thing, though.
Mm.
If you, let's say you are a part of the paramilitary group in Executive Outcomes, and you get captured, right? And they're like, "Who are you? Why are you here?" And you say, "Oh, well, I work for this company. Nothing personal. I just doing a job." They will just hold you in prison until they figure out who you are and why you're there, right?
Jeez.
And then they can, because there's no country that's like technically like legally taking ownership of you or like responsibility for you, like they can just hold you in prison forever and do nothing.
I think I remember reading that there is a guy from Academy that's still in prison. He's been in there for like
Yeah.
20 years now.
Yeah.
Like, holy
Jeez.
shit.
It's like that's very illegal.
Yeah. It's like paramilitaries is like a cool idea if you're making a story, but in like the
Mhm.
real world, it's a terrifying prospect because you know these are the guys companies will hire to put down their strikes.
Yeah, we know
Because,
these are
you
the people
know-
who these are the people that the president would hire to, I don't know, like clear out a street of protesters just to get a picture of him holding a Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into the
Star Wars!
let's get into the specific. Yeah, let's get into the specific points that I had written down because I felt very strongly about this video, and I just couldn't let it go. So, and of course, I saw that I could make content from it.
It's
So-
also Star Wars, so it's very on brand for this podcast.
Yeah, 2 Star Wars episodes in a row.
Wow.
So to the listeners, we are going to break down why the video, the Maptpat video is bad, why the Empire is bad, and then why it matters, kind of like relating it to real life stuff.
Yeah.
And we are,
Right.
and this is a fact, the first people to ever draw any parallels between the Empire and any real world organizations.
Yeah, this is the first time it's ever happened. We're really treading new ground here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We're an
It's not like the
amazing
creator of Star
podcast.
Wars like had inspiration from the real world or anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the TIE fighters and the rebel ships were like based on World War II footage.
It's not, it's not like the Confederacy of Independent Systems was, based on the military-industrial complex of the United States or anything.
That would be ridiculous.
No, it'd be completely ridiculous.
I do have
And
a
if
question,
we did delve into that, we would be the first.
We
This
would
is
be
a
in
little
fact
off
the first.
topic,
Yes,
but I know Gavin mentioned TIE fighters and it reminded me of this.
it was Alex.
Oh, Alex. I'm sorry. I get
Yeah, give me the proper credit.
I'm sorry, Alex. So Alex mentioned TIE fighters. This is off topic a bit because I just want to know, how are you supposed to get into a TIE fighter? I know the Mandalorian shows you one that has its wings fold down so you can get in and get out. But that's a completely
you put the
different
minifigure
model.
in it before you close the top.
No, but
Mhm.
seriously, how does people get into normal TIE fighters? Because the one in the Mandalorian is a
first,
completely different ship. Like,
So here's
the
what they
normal
do.
TIE fighter
They
doesn't
actually,
fold its wings.
Here's what they do. They actually send all the TIE fighters to what's the planet, the ocean planet where they clone people?
Oh,
Camino?
Kamino.
I almost
They
said
send all the ships to
Kiyoshi.
Kiyoshi.
What the
They
fuck
send
is
it to
Kiyoshi?
Kiyoshi Island.
They send
God.
all the TIE fighters to Kamino, right? And then they
Avatar
clone...
Kiyoshi controls the elements and bends them into the TIE fighter.
Fuck off.
They send all the TIE fighters to Kamino and they clone the people inside of the TIE fighters.
They
That's
just
how they
can't
do
ever
it.
leave.
They can't ever leave. They're just in there.
No, but like
they
seriously,
they gestated in that TIE
Yeah.
fighter. They were born in that TIE fighter, and they will die in that TIE fighter.
the tubes going into the helmet, those aren't actual like breathing tubes. It's the umbilical cord.
Yeah, no, it's actually completely sterile in there. So
No, but seriously, how the fuck do you get in a TIE fighter?
Well,
They
usually
actually-
they have like a whole rig set up. You usually get in and get out on an Imperial like
rig thing.
like ship. I don't remember
But
the
why
word.
is that
Like
considered
aircraft carrier.
the most beneficial way of doing it? You know how much time you are wasting. You are supposed to be
You're
a
usually not
Navy.
getting into it like on the ground somewhere.
Yeah, but like that happens. Like it's Star Wars. It happens a lot that someone lands a spaceship and then jumps out of their spaceship to shoot at someone on the ground.
I did it a lot in
I
Star Wars
guess.
Battlefront 1.
Hell, in Mandalorian, the two rebel pilots land their
I
spaceships
guess I'll be right
to
back.
use
I gotta
rifles to shoot
go
things.
wee real quick.
That's
Go
fair.
go
that's fair.
ahead. Go yes. But that just still bothers me so much. I just don't understand why the TIE fighter is considered a very like it's the height of engineering.
No,
Engineering. And it's like no, it's
The
not.
X-wing. Okay, here's the thing. So the TIE
The
fighter,
X-wing can land.
dude, the X-wing can land. The X-wing can go into hyperspace. The X-wing has better firing capabilities, better shields, better all around, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like the TIE fighter was designed to be like a one-use,
I'm back.
like easy manufactured
That was
thing.
really fast.
The bathroom is occupied. My roommate is taking a shower.
Oof.
We only have one bathroom.
Oof. Hold still. No, I was just talking though. It's like I just don't understand why people are like always talking about the engineering feats of the Empire, where all of this shit just seems so shitty. It's like the TIE
Mhm.
fighters, you have to have a fucking staircase to get into it. But the
Mhm.
backwards boys have ships that you can just jump out of.
Mm-hmm. Do they?
Like-
Do you know if they have like parachutes? Like
No, the Empire probably cut those corners too.
they're like
I
we
mean,
don't need parachutes.
all of their
We're in
soldiers
space.
are expendable.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like if you have a fleet of ships, you might want to try to make it to where you keep that fleet of ships.
Yeah.
I get that you could always just make more, but how expensive is that going to be in the long run?
Mhm.
Like even like money isn't the issue. It's just like resource taxing. Like how many fucking planets do you have to hollow out to make a whole fleet of star destroyers and spaceships and shit?
Can I be honest with you guys? Can I be honest real quick? So you know the Mon Calamari?
Yes, they're delicious.
Oh my god,
my
dude! I would
God.
eat him so fucking quickly. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I'd be like, hey Mister, it's a trap. I have
Admiral
this-
Akbar, you
Hey.
fucking swine.
No, he got the name right.
Mr. It's a Trap.
Mister, it's a trap. I'd be like, hey Admiral Akbar, I have this weird
Admiral
skillet
Akbar is a
with
trap.
I have this weird skillet full of butter and garlic. Do you want to like take a look at that? And he'd be like, maybe, huh? Let me
It's a
smell it. And then
Do
I
you know
just
the
kinda-
movie The Visit? Where like the
No.
old
Oh
people
my
are like
God.
possessed or whatever.
I know
Oh,
what you're
yeah.
talking about.
And in the trailer, it's like,
Would you
do
get
you
in the
mind getting
oven?
inside the oven to clean it?
Hey, Admiral Akbar, get in the oven. I need your help with something.
Hey,
You know, I
Admiral
swear I
Akbar.
remember the old woman like shutting her in there or something. Like I remember in the trailer.
In the commercial, she does, but in the actual movie, she doesn't.
in the movie, nothing fucking happens.
No, here's the thing.
It's like, oh, that's a bit weird.
There's this really weird scene, right, where this one girl, the little girl, is walking outside, and she sees this like little cabin like looking thing, and it's supposed to be like a
Cabin in
shed.
the woods.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like a shed, right? And so she walks in there. She notices there's like a board loose or something. She looks under, and there's all these like diapers that are like shitty, these shit diapers that are under.
Oh, I thought you were doing a bit, but yeah, this is in the movie.
Yeah, and there's all these shit diapers, and then the grandpa shows up behind her, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And it turns out he's always just been shitting these diapers. He doesn't know how to shit.
You know,
What?
representation is important in Hollywood, and I'm very thankful that my people are being given the proper representation that we deserve.
Yeah,
Me
I don't know how to
and
shit on
everyone else that shits in diapers and then throws them into a container.
Exactly. And I would like to thank our latest member, President Donald Trump.
Hey
He's
yo,
been,
got him.
got him. He's been very forthright. Except I think his shit's coming out at the wrong end because he's been saying some stuff that's not
Roasted.
right.
He roasted like a pig. Being about
Which he
pig
is.
roast. Speaking about being roasted like a pig, I just want to point out again, Maptpat's like, oh, they tricked the Ewoks into fighting for them because Luke is like, he made C-3PO their god. Like,
They were trying not to be eaten.
yeah,
Okay,
they were on
so-
the roast.
After they build the Death Star, I wonder what planet they're going to attack first.
No,
Maybe
wait a
the one
second.
that they
Hold
were.
on. I want to point out again. Wasn't the Empire going to destroy the forest moon of Endor?
Probably.
Like,
Yeah,
weren't they
probably.
powering up the laser to do that, or were they
Like,
doing
just be like,
something
"Here,
else?
let's
Oh
with
test
that?
yeah,
it."
they were.
It's like
They were gonna destroy the rebels on Endor.
So,
conscript the Ewoks
should we
into a
manipulate?
military,
should we
genocide the fuck
manipulate-
out of them. I wonder
should
who's
we-
in the right.
Huh?
Or
should
they
we
might have been
manipu-
using the Death Star on the fleet. I don't think they were gonna blow up the forest moon of Endor.
Let me think here.
I mean, it's
Should
the
we-
Empire. They probably were going to do that immediately afterwards, just for shits and
Here.
giggles.
Guys, you're not letting me think here. Let me think
Sorry.
here.
Let Gavin think.
Let me think here. So, should we?
That's why I want to get some more
should we?
soda.
Should we trick an entire race of people? That sounded
Teddy
wrong.
bears.
Sorry. Should we? Yeah. Should we?
Gay Roosevelts.
Sure. Should we manipulate an entire species to save their planet, or should we just take the high road and just let the Empire destroy it because they deserve respect?
I also want to point out.
Yeah, we gotta respect their agency.
Maptpat
get
also
destroyed.
said that the planets that the First Order destroyed deserved it because they didn't have any national security.
Oh yeah, I wanted to bring that up too. Yeah, so like when Alderaan gets blown up, it's like, well, that's not real Tarkanism. He had to show strength, to properly govern. And then when Coruscant gets blown up, it's like, well, they should have had better national defense.
I love Maptpat in that because he also uses the Bush excuse, like they might have had weapons of mass destruction. We don't know.
They
Never
could have
know
been
now.
on the other side, so of course the Empire had to blow them up.
You know what? Makes
They
me
genocided
think,
entire people.
So, did he actually blow up Coruscant?
Yeah, in the new movies, they destroy Coruscant.
I think it was
and a
in The
couple of
Force
other core
Awakens.
planets.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that was my favorite planet. Coruscant is gone.
The Death Star, but bigger, blows up Alderaan, but bigger.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They wipe out so many of the core systems.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the ships that were in orbit around Coruscant because, especially ones that were in direct path of the laser beam, because it's they're just floating there and they're like, oh wow, we're just kind of chilling in space right now, aren't we? Hey, what's that light? It seems like it's getting closer. Huh? That's really weird. It's getting really big.
What's that light coming right at us?
Yeah, wow. It's like a laser pointer, but a billion times more intense.
So,
It's like,
about the video though, I wrote this down. I wanted to bring this up. I think my main problem with Film Theory's video is that they're playing devil's advocate just for the sake of playing devil's advocate.
For views, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, well, in the intellectual sense, I guess, ignoring the clickbait,
Ethics.
doing it for views thing, they're just playing devil's advocate just to do it. Playing devil's advocate is useful in some instances, to think out both sides of an argument.
Hey, you
But, in this case,
you unsmart plebeian. Facts don't care about your feelings. You dope.
Oh my god.
Yeah, playing devil's advocate for the sake of playing devil's advocate is not valuable.
It's not being
especially in
intellectual.
this case.
Yeah.
I just remembered something else. I don't want to keep going off topic. It's still on topic, but it's again.
It kind of seems like you
addressing-
do.
No, it's still about how the Empire is shitty. It's Maptpat used like the Mandalorian explains why the Empire's the good guys. I remember that same exact episode. Doesn't like the Mandalorian go to his home and then like the big guy's like, "You brought the fucking Empire shit here? They killed almost all of us." The guys that
see, Jared, you're
massacred
you
our
have
race.
to stop. You see, with that episode, the only parts that are canon are immediately leading up to and following the old Nazis saying that the Nazis were good.
I just want to point out though, the same exact episode.
Everything
like
else is legends.
Oh my god! But no, it's like seriously, like what's the guy's name? Like Paz Vizsla or whatever. It's like, hey, why'd you bring that shit here? We don't want Empire shit. You know what they're gonna do to us? And then proceed to do to them at the end of the series, at the end of the season. He called it. They got fucking exterminated, motherfucker. Goddamn Imperial.
And like Maptpat brings up like, oh, you know, the Star Wars series is biased against the Empire because you see it from the Rebels' perspective. It's like, well, you know, there's a difference between like bias, like in the colloquial sense, like how most people use it, and just like having a perspective. You know, like history books are biased against the Nazis.
Yeah. Well, look at
I guess
it like
Kratos is biased against Zeus.
Look at it like this too. If you had a leader who was like actively evil, who just like casually was like, yeah, I'm evil. I'm an evil dude. I like the dark side and torturing people. Also, genocide's pretty cool.
Well, hey, Gavin, you're sounding pretty biased right now.
That's literally what Darth Sidious wanted. That's literally what he's like, I want to make this base so I can blow up planets if they don't agree with me.
No. Darth Sidious is good because the Star Wars movies are framed from the Rebels' perspective.
Are biased.
I'm not talking about the Star Wars movies. I'm talking about what literally Darth Sidious wanted to do. That was his plan, okay? If you had a leader who wanted to do that, wouldn't you want them deposed as well?
I don't know.
Being
that
biased. That sounds like rebel propaganda. You know what?
Don't you know that having a point of view is bias and should therefore
I'm
be
gonna
combated.
say it right here, right now. I think Skyrim's biased towards dragons.
Yeah. And like what I'm trying to get at is like bias isn't bad. Like most people when they use the word bias, they're like, oh, well, you're just unfairly against whatever thing. Like, oh, you're biased against whatever ideology. Well, it's like, no, that ideology is just wrong.
There is such
You guys ever see the movie Willow?
No.
No, I don't think so.
It's a fantasy movie starring Warwick Davis, who is known for playing Wicket in episode 6. But in that fantasy movie, there's two main factions. There's the farm people trying to live their lives, and then there's the evil kingdom that's trying to murder everyone.
Well, Jared, if you look at it from the kingdom's perspective,
towards them.
If you look at it from the kingdom's perspective, they're just trying to bring peace and prosperity at the expense of exterminating a few ethnic races.
They were going to wipe out a bunch of munchkins because they had a baby.
Here's the thing. You can be morally biased too. So there's always two options when you're trying to deal with a problem, right? If you want to deal with homelessness... I'm just saying,
if one of the leaders of your organization wears an obvious Grim Reaper mask and kills everyone with a big-ass sword, maybe you're on the bad guy's side.
Jared,
maybe,
you're biased.
But also... No, but also, like, here's the thing. Like, using my example from before...
horrifyingly disfigured is your leader? Is it because of his own doing? You're probably the bad guy.
Using my example from before, if you want to deal with homelessness, for example, right, you can deal with it two ways. One, kill all the homeless people, then you don't have people who are homeless. Or two, give them proper housing and adequate like job training so they can like get a job and have a happy life, right?
I'm gonna point out that I don't think any faction in Star Wars has done the latter. I think
Gavin,
most of the time they just kill the homeless.
I'm gonna be straight up with you. Okay, that sounds like socialism and bias, so you're double canceled.
We're canceling you, Gavin. Gavin, I'm sitting
but you can have a moral bias of being like, hey,
you're being very unintellectual right now.
Involve killing people.
Gavin, this sounds like communist propaganda. It's pretty biased, bro.
It sounds like you're having a perspective right now, and we don't do that here.
I'm calling the.
Okay, this is film theory.
And that's just the
Oh
theory.
my god!
And that's just a bias, a film bias.
What's up, guys? It's Maptpat back with another video. In today's episode, I'm going to be justifying
I'm going
war
to fucking
crimes.
die. Oh, I hate. No. Stop.
What's
It
up,
hurts.
Low Gang? We're going to visit the Holocaust Museum and start every sentence with, well, you know, from the Nazis'
Whoa.
perspective.
From the
Well, from the Nazis'
oh
perspective.
Jesus Christ!
Oh my god. Now, Star
Yeah, like-
Wars, though, it's like no one's really the good guy. I think that's the point of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Stop
supposed to
trying
show
to
how, like,
find a
even-
good guy.
Well, even though there are like light and dark sides to like the galaxy, right? It's all a shade of gray.
It's
That's
mostly all
it
just
is.
shades of gray.
It's
Yeah,
just
like look
shades
at
of
the
gray.
Mandalorian.
Well, more like shades of brown because it's all shit.
Right. But like for instance, look at like Darth Maul, for instance, right? We would consider him to be a bad guy, but it wasn't his decision to be a Sith Lord, right? He was just indoctrinated into that from a young age.
Yeah, I read the novel with like his life story
Mhm.
up until like immediately after the battle on Naboo, because I think it was published before they did all that like stuff with like the Clone Wars and like expanding on the story.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, like having that insight into like his childhood and upbringing, like he had no chance of a normal life.
But
Even
when
then,
he's
though, he doesn't become a Sith Lord. He just tries to do his own thing. Like in the Clone Wars, he does desire power, but he doesn't like. He's not really that much of a dick about it.
Yeah,
No,
but
well,
so
he
every
becomes like
choice
every
and decision
other
he's going to make
faction.
is going to be coming from a place
He-
of like not having a normal upbringing, not being raised with any sort of compassion or empathy.
I'm not justifying the Mandalorian war crimes, though. That was he was evil there.
but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. He literally became Mandalore.
yeah, technically he did it.
Mandalore.
Well, I'm gonna give Maul props for it. Besides the whole staging a coup thing, he did do it within the rights of the Mandalorian like culture.
Mhm.
So technically, he does have a say in being the Mandalore.
Well, you know, and he did go through the proper channels, so his coup is justified.
Okay, the coup
Now,
part.
if he had
not
just staged any old random coup, you know, then there'd be a problem. But he did do it
but
by
here's
the
the thing.
book. So
Here's the thing, though. Technically, it wasn't his coup. He did help with the coup, but it was Pre Vizsla's coup. And then, because Pre Vizsla's all about the old ways, Maul challenged him to a duel for ownership of the title, which Pre Vizsla couldn't turn down because that would be dishonorable towards the Mandalorian
that'd
culture.
be gay.
Basically. But yeah, no, so technically Darth Maul, although did participate in a terrorist act, he did operate with the terrorists' same beliefs to get to the power that he was in.
Mhm.
It just also started an entire civil war, which resulted in Mandalore becoming so weak to the point where when the Empire attacked, they basically wiped them off the face of the planet. But, you know, baby steps.
Yeah. Well, back to the video though. It seems like most of Pat's arguments boil down to like
The Jedi were
when-
evil.
well, that and like when people defend like fascist Italy, they say something along the lines of like, well, you know, at least
trains
Mussolini
ran on
had the
time.
trains. Yeah, he had the trains running on time. You could set your watch to the trains because of how well they ran on time because of, you know, all the slave labor and all that.
Like, I do want to point out the hypocrisy of the Empire. Their whole, like, we're not going to let these scums like bounty hunters and smugglers slide by and then immediately hire bounty hunters and smugglers to do their dirty work.
I don't know. It seems like they're only like selectively against that stuff. Like, I was watching Solo earlier, a Star Wars story, and
Yeah.
You were just watching it alone. You're watching Solo.
I was watching it solo, and like the Empire knew about like the Pike Syndicate and like, you know, they're like organized crime and that and all that stuff, but they don't really do anything about it until they hear that there's like a slave
Until they're
revolt.
acting against them.
It's like they don't care about it until like the people have power.
Yeah. if it's still technically beneficial to the Empire,
guys.
they're gonna keep it in power.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I gotta go pee.
I have to go PP too. I'm gonna piss out the window.
Wait,
I'll be right back.
you have to pee again, dude? Like, check your
He
prostate,
didn't
my
pee.
guy.
He didn't pee at all, though.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll mute myself.
I will stay here, and I will continue to talk to the people. My favorite Star Wars character is General Grievous, based on design. From a moral standpoint, I think my favorite character is Dexter Jester, because he's the only character in Star Wars that is definitely just a good guy. I mean, look at his mustached face. You know, Dexter Jester would never sell you out to the Empire. His diner is just the perfect setting for Star Wars. It doesn't feel out of place at all when a wizard goes in there to ask about poison dart. But you know, I feel like Dexter Jester is really the moral backbone that Star Wars really needs. Without him, it's just a bunch of assholes fighting each other for no reason. But with characters like him, you just know there's heart to it. He just brings a warm aura with him everywhere he goes with his grotesque forearms. Ugh.
I'm back.
Okay, I was just telling them about the most wholesome character in Star Wars, who I'd say is the best.
Really?
I will not tell you who that is. You'll have to find it in the podcast.
Shit.
It is a scavenger hunt. Did you hear about the Anita Sarkeesian getting mad about the Mandalorians having boob armor?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that.
Oh,
I did
God
see that
damn it.
actually. And
I just
out of all of the issues that you could care about as a feminist, is that really the most important thing?
I feel like the biggest issue with Mandalorian is they just showed Baby Yoda committing mass abortions and no one cared.
Oh, that's another thing though. People
Baby
getting
Yoda.
people got genuinely upset about Baby Yoda eating those eggs. And it's that's fictional. That didn't
Yeah,
happen.
I know. We know.
There's real life genocides happening right now as we speak. And since it's not being perpetrated by a cute puppet, you don't care.
Oh yeah, that's just peak.
That's peak Twitter.
This is the way.
What's up, dipshits?
Hey, Gavin's back.
Hello.
So, we were leaving off on basically the trains run on time argument. But yeah, next up, the idea that I wanted to jump into is the idea that more than one system can be bad.
Yeah.
The Republic and the Jedi have a lot of flaws, but that doesn't mean that the Empire is good even by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a binary. It's not well, if one's bad, the other has to be good, and if the other is good, the other has to be bad.
No. Well,
maybe it's just all shit.
It literally went from a democracy with a Senate that went to a more
galactic empire.
Well, that went to a militaristic kind of I wouldn't say totalitarian, but they were in a state of war, so it was kind of totalitarian, where it was hey, do what we say, or we're gonna have to invade.
Kind of like martial law.
Almost like martial law.
That reminds me.
Right? But then it went from that to an empire, right? To a totalitarian dictatorship.
You guys remember Dexter Jester and his diner, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lovely character, one of the best characters in Star Wars. Did you know that the Empire also assassinated him and burnt his diner down?
Yeah,
Why?
I believe it.
Yeah, they're the good guys, though. They killed an honest, hardworking businessman because he talked to Obi-Wan once.
Dang. I
And
thought
they
he was
burnt
friends
his
with
business
Obi-Wan.
to the ground.
I thought it was just because he was close friends with Obi-Wan.
Okay, that's the thing. Episode 2, when they introduce the diner, it's like in every like Private Eye story where they go to a diner. It's like, this is where you go to get the scoop. It's like, they're not really friends. He's just like Obi-Wan's like informant. He's like, hey, there's a story I heard. Now get this. Here's the skinny, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Dexter Jettster is just a helpful guy that the Empire slaughter mercilessly because he made sandwiches.
Look at it this way too. Dexter Jettster had a lot of information that the Jedi Order didn't know about or tried
because
to
it's
erase.
just all speculative rumors. It's just like,
No, it's
because
not.
where else
He
do you
knew-
hear gossip more than a diner?
No. He knew where Camino was. Right? He didn't have a map. He knew where it was. Right? He said, just outside the Rishi Maze in this other galaxy, that's where you'll find Camino. And so Obi-Wan was like, okay, cool, I'll look that up. And he looked it up, and the Jedi Order didn't have it because it was erased by
Sifo Dyas.
Sifo Dyas. And so, yeah, Dexter Jettster had information that even the Jedi Order didn't know.
I'd like to point out, though, the reason why he knew that is the same reason why you know a lot of secrets about everyone in town if you go to a bar. It's because people, when they're in those public areas, for some reason, just gossip and gossip. And, like, I can tell you, more conspiracy theorists visit diners than they do bars. Dexter Jettster probably heard a whole shit ton of, like, private information he wasn't supposed to hear, but disregarded it because he's just a chef.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
Yeah, he's just sitting there. It's like, hey, did you hear about the Clone Wars, the cloner planet Camino? He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, this could be a fun story. Gets told about it. Obi-Wan comes in. Look at this weird thing I found. That looks like the thing that weird crazy guy was talking about. Here's that story. And then the Empire kills him.
Yeah.
Fuck the Empire, man. They got cool looking
armor,
armor, but that's about
man.
it.
Dexter Jettster was a prospector, my guy.
Dexter Jettster was just trying to make a living on in New York City, basically. And they killed him for it.
Then they got blown up by the First Order.
Bastards.
Yeah. No,
those bastards.
So, back to the point that I was making. We mentioned this earlier, but like comparing the Jedi Order to like, you know, the Empire or even the First Order. To be clear, they're not the same thing. You can actually leave the Jedi Order, if you don't even want to leave and you just don't want to be like a military general, you can just be like a librarian at the Jedi Temple.
Yeah, Ahsoka I feel like that's just straight up leaves and they don't care at one point.
Yeah, and I feel like
she
that
joins
point is
another
worth
military
making.
group too.
I feel like that point is worth making because Maptpat in his video and a lot of other people seem to be under the assumption that the Jedi like kidnap children and then don't let them leave.
Yeah, no, that's not the case. You're given a choice.
I don't agree at all with their teachings or their methods, like, you know, taking children, not letting them see their parents, you know, not letting them have emotions, basically. I don't agree with that at all. But I mean, at least you are allowed to leave.
Yeah.
And you're not being given an assault rifle and told to go to war day one.
Yeah. And I feel like that's an important distinction to make.
Hey guys, Coruscant
However,
wasn't
the clone
destroyed.
troopers are.
What was that, Gavin?
Coruscant wasn't destroyed.
It wasn't
destroyed? Then what the fuck did they blow up?
It must have been some other capital planet then.
It was, yeah, they moved the capital planet from Coruscant to somewhere else, and that's what they destroyed.
Okay.
So they just made a second Coruscant and had it look exactly like Coruscant.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is it really so unbelievable that there would be 2 city planets?
That's a good point. In the galaxy filled with fucking sand planets.
I mean, why would we have LA if we already have New York?
That makes no good point. However, I do want to point out, though, Star Wars is not creative with its planets because every planet just has a single climate.
Yeah.
I think there are some that have different climates, but
where
they just don't go into detail on it. Like I swear
Like,
I saw
blank.
somewhere I saw somewhere that there
Um,
are some planets, even ones that were like visited in the movies, that have
where
like
was
varying
Leia? What planet
climates.
was Leia from? I forget.
Alderaan.
I think Alderaan had multiple climates.
No, Alderaan was like Naboo. It was spring every fucking day.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe Naboo has like winter and changing seasons.
I want to see
I
a
mean,
Naboo
how much time do
winter.
we really see? How much time do we spend on Naboo in the
Okay,
movies?
but here's the
Like
thing: though.
a
If it was
weekend?
winter on Naboo, do you think the Gungans would die off? Because that's some pretty fucking cold weather.
That's
They
true.
those domes that they have probably protect them. I
They
mean,
might go into
fish don't
hibernation.
die every winter.
Oh yeah, they don't die in winter, but like,
Could they go into
I need to
hibernation?
know, like, what are the Gungans like insides like?
I feel like you were just wondering that already, regardless of like the whole winter argument.
Well, yeah, I need
think
to
that's just a you
understand.
thing.
We need to know how to kill them. Look, I'm not for a lot of the things the Empire does, but the enslavement and destruction of Naboo is something I will totally get behind. Fuck that planet. Whenever I played the original Battlefront, there's a game mode called Conquest, where if you capture 3 planets, you can use the Death Star to blow up a planet, and I would always blow up Naboo, even if I owned it. The casualties were acceptable. I killed my own men just to wipe out the Gungan population.
Rain fire.
But sire, our troops.
Do it.
Boo!
But no, that reminds me. So like in Maptpat's video, he shows a clip from, I guess, some movie from the 90s, I don't know, where they're talking about like, you know,
Clerks. He's talking about Clerks.
Clerks, yeah, and they're comparing and contrasting in A New Hope when they blew up the Death Star, and in Return of the Jedi when they blew up the Death Star.
I want to talk about that too, because there is no independent contractors for the second Death Star. Like, it is
Probably
already
slaves.
in universe. It's not slaves. Like, there are construction like based Imperials, the Imperial Engineering Corps and shit. There is an entire branch of the military designated just for like repairing and fixing ships. Because they don't want a terrorist to blow it up again.
It's called your mom.
You're the Galactic Empire. You just lost your superstation.
But even then,
would you leave it for fucking Napa to fix, or are you gonna go and like get your team of engineers to do it?
Yeah, let's just say though it was independent contractors, which it wasn't. But let's just say it was. I would still say blowing up the Death Star is justified both times for the same reason. The reason being, if you don't destroy this
super laser,
if you don't destroy this super weapon, it will be used to destroy trillions of lives.
Yeah,
trillions of people will no longer be alive if this weapon is allowed to operate.
And again, if the argument is the rebels killed a bunch of honest, hard workers, look at Tatooine and tell me how well that planet's doing in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys,
I'm looking at these. That they blow it up.
I'm looking at pictures of like the different Star Wars planets, and I found it funny that in one of the little pictures, it showed a picture of Tatooine, but it was actually a picture of Mars. I just found that really funny. That's it.
I love that.
I don't know why they don't just use real pictures of Tatooine.
Because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, fictional thing isn't real.
Well, no, I want to point out though, Tatooine is a planet where it's just literally a bunch of farmers trying their best to survive, and the Empire come in just to kill them every so often. How many people have been vaporized by the Empire just because of suspicion of working with the terrorists? But yeah, no, it's just I just really hate the argument that the Empire brought law to the galaxy. Not really. Not really.
They brought policing to the galaxy.
And even then, like, their policing was so shit. Like, half the time smugglers and pirates and criminals would go away and be like, okay, because they had connections with Palpatine.
They were also speciesists.
Oh yeah, there's
that's another thing that I wanted
fuck.
to. That's another thing that I had written down under why the Empire is bad.
Didn't they wipe out all the Jawas just for shits and giggles? Also,
I don't know about that.
Like, not all the Jawas, but the ones that
Empire,
sold the droids. Like they came and just executed them.
The Empire does a lot of slavery and is very racist.
Oh God! Like they're like okay. If I can parallel it to another,
there's also a whole list of genocides that the Empire has perpetrated.
I want to point this out. The Empire and the Imperium of Man from Warhammer 40k are basically the same, and no one says the Imperium are the good guys in Warhammer 40k because they understand that there is no good guys in that universe. Everything is just a different level of evil. Don't try to justify Star Wars' version of that because the other guys are bad. When even the protagonists of another series are considered the villains in any ways.
Jared,
for being the exact same way.
That's a good point, but I can't help but feel that you're being a little biased.
Oh my God. But seriously,
I can't help but think that you're being a little bitch right now, and
I can't help but think you're being a little bitch.
I can't help but think.
Friend Jas Nene, baby.
Can't help but think. Please take this curse away from me.
Oh God, I think, therefore I am. Please, make me not.
I don't want to think. I just want to return to monkey.
Silence, wench. I don't want to think anymore. I just want to be happy. But,
guys, it's painful being this logical and smart. Please take this gift away from me.
These facts and logic, they're destroying me.
No, but seriously, it's like, what is it with Star Wars?
I'm being destroyed by facts and logic.
Like, I don't understand that thing with Star Wars fans where it's like, the Empire did nothing wrong. They're okay and stuff. But they're like, Warhammer fans are like, everybody's doing everything wrong. It's great. Fuck it.
You see, the people that say that aren't the people that would be like perpetrating any kind of like
war crimes,
like fascist genocide, but they are the people that would just be going along with it.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't be the people at the Nazi rally, like Sieg Heiling along with Hitler, but they would be the people that are just like,
they'd pre-order,
that are just not doing anything about it.
They pre-ordered like 20 copies of Mein Kampf.
Like, this Hitler guy is, I don't like the way that he talks, but he's getting results.
He has some good points.
Same way people talk about Trump now. Hey, oh God, I'm tied it back.
Oh, guys, also Biden won. Biden definitely won the election.
Oh yeah. No, it's all fake.
We are the first. This is a fact. We are the first to call the race. Actually,
you
heard
it here first. Biden won.
Oh my God.
Biden won.
No, I just want to point out though, it's like I don't see why anyone is giving like Trump and his cronies like any like quarter with this, because every year this happens, the other guy wins, and the other side's like, obviously Russia tampered with it, because Russia's known for doing that.
Dude.
The country
that was only last year, and like when when Obama won twice, right? The other guy
Russia did it, and then Trump won, and it was Russia did it, and then Biden won, and now it's Russia did it. It's like, you know what? I really want to see the version of Russia that's able to do all these technical feats when they can't even feed their people.
I can't wait until Russia's like, yo, man, I didn't do
Russia
shit.
Russia can't even elect their own leader.
Yeah. It's like I'm constantly reminded about the video where Russia goes to the robotics expo with a guy in a robot costume and tries to pretend it's a real robot. And I'm reminded, it's like, these are the guys we say rigged our election. This is the level of effort they put into their own fucking lies. The guy's costume comes apart on stage.
Look, let's just put your bias aside, all right? And then let's just
damn it.
Look, Jared, we're not gonna be political this episode, okay? Now let's go back to talking about the Empire.
Okay. No, the Empire. I like their armor, and I think they look cool. But I know they're the bad guys. They're very obviously the bad guys.
Yeah.
There's no justifying them. Like in the very first movie, you see them commit war crimes. Like they burn a sandcrawler and execute all the Jawas. They kill two innocent bystanders just for being related to a guy.
Yeah.
And then they blow up an entire fucking planet. But you know,
No. The Tarkin doctrine.
Tarkin does it. I forgot.
Tarkin was correct, therefore, Tarkin was correct according to his own book. Therefore, he is correct.
Tarkin kind of reminds me of George Bush in this situation. Where it's like they could have had weapons of mass destruction. It was completely justified what we did.
I don't know. That's a little bit of a stretch to think that Star Wars is supposed to be a political allegory.
You know, Star Wars, where they designed the main villains off of Nazis. Definitely not political.
You know, my one of my least favorite arguments for the Empire, and they're all one of my least favorite. Every single argument for the Empire is one of my least favorite. But not like Maptpat kind of he touches on this, the idea that like, well, you know, the Republic was weak. So, you know, the Empire stepped in and established order. Well, first of all, one being bad doesn't necessarily mean the other is good. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
But the Republic, especially during the Clone Wars,
was that constant war with its back against the wall, getting fucked over constantly.
Well, no, let me finish.
Like
it was constantly being like torn apart actively from the inside by Palpatine. It's not like the Republic was failing, you know, strictly due to like the weakness of its system, which was flawed, to be fair. But it's not like it collapsed because, you know, that's just how it naturally played out. No, it was one guy at the top who was controlling the Republic as well as the Confederacy of Independent Systems. And it was due to him, it was due to his actions that both sides fell and the Empire was formed. It was none of it was by accident. It was all planned out by the Emperor. So it's like, well, you know, the Empire is right because the Empire planned for itself to be formed. That argument doesn't make sense.
Well, guys, there's nothing wrong with power. It's just as long as there's power with checks and balances.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what happened with the Republic, where the Chancellor amassed a lot of unchecked power due to him presenting a threat and then presenting himself as the answer to that threat.
And you know, one point I'd like to touch up on that is that in I think it was the last of the prequels,
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Anakin's talking to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's like, you shouldn't be this close.
From
to
my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Yeah.
Maptpat
Obi-Wan is like, you shouldn't be this close to the Chancellor. He's a politician. You can't trust politicians. And plus, he's like overstayed his authority in the Senate. And then Anakin, quite correctly, in my opinion, quips back, yeah, after the Senate voted for him to keep that power. Right? So that's a check and balance, right? Of the Senate saying, no, we want you to have this power. Here, continue to maintain it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't even call that a proper like check, I guess. Like the Senate is being manipulated by the Chancellor, so they can't properly do their job of checking his power. Which,
what was he doing?
That's not on them, because how are they supposed to know that they're being played?
Mm-hmm.
All he has to do is just have the Separatist fleet attack their home planet next.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now you need me to be in power. Who knew? Ha.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a weakness of the Republic. I would just chalk that up to the Emperor playing the system
Being
to his advantage.
Yeah.
And maybe you could make the argument that just the fact that he was able to do that means that the Republic was doomed to fail. But still, that circles back to, just because the Republic was bad doesn't mean the Empire was good.
Yeah.
Back to the Outer Rim planets, though. I wanted to delve into this a bit more. So the Outer Rim planets like Tatooine, they were not better off under the Empire. They weren't
They were
particularly well
fucked
off
more.
under the Republic. But I mean, either way, they were pretty much left to their own devices, and crime went rampant, and organized crime became the law of the land. The
Yeah.
Empire didn't do anything to change that other than just sending more police their way.
Hey guys, did we
Which-
ever
And even
think
they
about
didn't do shit.
guys? Did we ever think about if those outer rim planets were even a part of the Republic?
I believe they
tried to
were
be.
technically.
Did they have a Senate, like a person in Senate?
I don't know actually. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up because I'm very
No,
curious.
because
Thank you for
even
bringing
during
that up.
that, they were still part of the Hutt Collective.
Yeah, but like, if they're not a part of the Republic, what would the Republic's incentive be to help them? Right?
No, it's just to destabilize.
Okay,
What?
so it looks like Tatooine has it says here, as part of the Outer Rim, Tatooine has no real political standings except imperial occupation. Tatooine is run by the Hutts, who don't abide by the Galactic Republic or the Empire unless occupation has occurred. So basically, the Empire doesn't offer any political representation to Tatooine or any other Outer Rim territories. All that they offer is occupation and just, general control without any representation.
But it wasn't
Yeah.
a part of the Republic, right?
Hold on, what the
It wasn't
hell?
a part of the Republic or the Empire in the traditional sense, but the Empire, just through sheer military might, was able to occupy them.
Okay.
So yeah, that kind of proves my point that they weren't better off under the Empire. Like it said in that little snippet, Tatooine is run by the Hutts, not the
Mhm.
Empire or the
I
Republic.
bet they had great pizza though.
Because no one out pizzas
Fuck
the Hutt.
off. Oh my god.
But no, like I said earlier, I was watching Solo, a Star Wars story earlier, and Han, no family, Solo.
Fuck off. No.
One line that he has pretty much sums up exactly what I'm trying to get at, where he is in. He's in the Imperial Navy, I believe, or he's in the infantry.
Yeah, he's part of the
Han is in
infantry
the
corps.
Imperial infantry. He's on the front lines, and his higher up is telling the battalion, like, okay, so we're gonna march in, we're gonna take on the aggressors, and we're gonna and Han is like, haha, I am speaking up right now. And the commander is like, what was that? And he is like, well, I mean, it's their planet. We're the aggressors.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty biased, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, he seems very biased against the Empire, so I think we should just discount
This
his
Imperial
opinion.
trooper is biased against the Empire.
Ideally, every planet would have its own autonomous government,
Well,
so
that's
they
what the Empire
can
kinda
rule
did, though.
themselves.
That's what the Empire kind of did, though.
Well, no, not really, because each planet had its own imperially appointed governor. The
Yeah.
governors weren't elected by the people; they're
That's
appointed by the Empire.
That's true.
Gavin, were you eaten by a snake or something?
Why?
It sound you sound like
Sound
really muffled.
very
Is your
muffled.
mic being covered up?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about
I
that.
just hear like, it's like, what the fuck?
No, it's funny. I have this neck pillow.
Okay.
And it's these big bulky headphones that I have on. It's hard to like just lay down with them on my head. So I take the neck pillow and I put one of the speakers into it, and it works perfectly.
Alright.
That's genius.
Yeah, see, big brain here.
Big
yeah.
brain Star Wars time.
Big brain Star Wars time.
But yeah, so like I was saying, ideally every planet would have its own autonomous government, free from any outside like direct rule.
Yep, free from the gays. Yep.
of course. And and I do believe in the idea of like a centralized galactic government.
Just to keep
I
things
guess
in
in the
check.
same sense that I believe in like a UN, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't believe in appointing a governor to rule over a planet, and I don't believe in basically going to war with the planet just so you can control them.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
like
it's for the same reason that I'm against war in the U.S. going to war in the Middle East, because we don't have anything to do with their conflict. We make it worse.
It kind of sounds like the Empire are a bunch of imperialists.
Hey, let's not get political, okay?
Wow, you sound very biased, actually.
Yeah,
it is true.
Sounds like you're having a perspective.
I'm sorry, boys. I forgot to tell you. I'm actually with the Rebel Alliance.
But no,
I'm
actually,
biased.
in Maptpat's video, I genuinely wonder if he's actually seen the movies.
Yeah. No,
Because
Well, I don't
common
think it's
people
about,
in
like-
the Star Wars universe hated the Empire.
Mhm. Well, there's a lot of
he's like,
contextual
watch
things.
Mandalorian. They talk about how great
guys-
the Empire is. Every single time they mention the Empire, it's always like,
you guys-
God, I'm so happy we
you guys-
got rid of that dictatorship.
You guys, there's a lot of contextual stuff that you would have to like dig into to really understand the full picture, though. That I don't think Maptpat really has the time for.
But he has the time to break down every single piece of lore from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes.
I want to talk about that though at some point. That shit's gotten fucking insane. You know how they were gonna make a movie about it? They pushed it back 3 years because they don't understand how the lore is and they want it to be comprehensible. They had to push back a movie 3 years because they're struggling with the story.
They're like,
because that's
we
how
want this to be.
They
insane
don't need a
is.
movie for that.
We want this to be understandable.
Like, apparently God's involved with it, and like, well, it's just like 2 gods, and like all the machines are children.
Is
But
it
they're
2 gods,
not
1 cup?
dead kids, and it's just even more confusing.
You mean like 2 gods, 1 cup?
No, it's worse. It's like apparently the guy that killed the kids is like a god, an ancient evil god, and then like the guy from the second game is also a god.
Yeah, and I really appreciate how that ties in with the theme of today's episode.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to talk about that because you brought it up, and we are talking about a Maptpat video, so you can't avoid it because that's all he fucking
Of
does.
course.
But yeah, but it's like that whole series is insane, and I really want us to do like an unraveling of it, just because the lore for it is more insane than anything else I have talked about, including Fortnite lore. And that's some pretty crazy shit right there. Now I will drink my Coca-Cola.
Hey guys, I hate to be that guy, but I think I have to go to make dinner because I'm getting very.
All right, that's fine. All right, Jared and I will. How long are you gonna be gone? Are you like gone or like?
I mean, I think for the rest of the night, probably.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Jared and I can.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Finish it up if you have to go now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love y'all. Thanks for having me back on. I appreciate it.
You
Yeah,
can
it was great having
join
you.
whenever you can.
Yeah.
It's excellent having you.
Yes. I'm actually off next week too, so if you guys want another show.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I can
only
get you off
Monday and
anytime you
Tuesday
want.
off. Oh my god.
Ooh woo.
Ah! Oh god, that awoke something in me. I no.
Ooh,
Stop.
Wook something in you.
Awoke.
Ooh wook. Anyway,
Oh,
appreciate
God.
you guys. Have a nice night, alright?
You
Yeah,
have a
you
nice
too.
night too, Gavin.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. But now back to Star Wars, which is the topic of every podcast we've done. Yeah, no, the Empire
Yeah.
is so cartoonishly evil at times, though. It's like, how
Yeah.
can you justify them? It's like,
But no, I was saying though before you brought up Five Nights at Freddy's lore, common people hated the Empire. It's even mentioned in the first in A New Hope, the first one that they made, where how
like the Empire suck.
and yeah, Luke is like, I mean, I hate the Empire as much as the next guy. So it's like it's commonly known that the Empire is not popular.
Yeah. Like, and I want to point out though, because again, he keeps bringing up Mandalorian in his arguments. Like, a Mandalorian says that the Empire are peaceful. I want to point out that that exact guy that says that in the season finale is executed by the Empire because he's outlived his usefulness.
Yeah.
Moff Gideon just executes him. He's like, "Oh, well, we got what we need. Time to die."
Also, I
old
feel
man."
like we didn't go into detail on this earlier, but the Empire is extremely racist. They don't
Yes.
allow non-humans into their army.
They do, but you have to be enslaved first.
Oh, right, of course. But no, like you can't be a stormtrooper if you're not human.
Yeah, and also, why would you want to be a stormtrooper if you're not human? They genocide entire planets every Tuesday.
That's true. But
They didn't bring law and order to the galaxy. They brought like human supremacy, which was already very prevalent.
yeah, now to be fair, the general like non-human like bias was it was there for a long time, even in the Galactic Republic.
Yeah,
But I mean, that
It's-
means that they're both bad.
yeah.
I feel like
No,
it goes
Alex,
without
you
saying
said-
at this point.
You said the Empire were bad. That means you think the Republic was in the right. That's what that means.
No, I'm pretty sure the Empire is the
No,
right.
no, Alex. There can only be one bad guy, and the other one has to be the good guy.
No, get it? Because I was calling the Empire right wing.
No, I get what you mean, but Alex, there can only be one bad guy, and there can only be one good guy. So if one of them is bad, the other
Of
by
course, my
default
mistake.
has to be good. You don't understand. This is storytelling 101.
Right? How could I be so? How could I be so stupid?
There always has to be one bad guy and one good guy.
Traditional marriage.
Yes.
So, anyway, to kind of wrap it all up, I wanna end this with why everything that we've been talking about matters. Like why it matters that we are discussing why this fictional regime is bad.
Yeah.
Basically, the reason that all of this matters is that the Empire is based on the Nazis. That's
Yeah.
obvious. That's generally known. Every
Defending
part
the
of them,
Empire is just defending sci-fi Nazis.
yeah, every part of the Empire, from the ships to like the cinematography of their battles to like the officers, it's based on Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
So if you as a content creator or just a person talking about movies like Maptpat is, if you have a large audience and you're using your platform to broadcast this message and twisting the details and logic to make the Empire look like the good guys, then that plants the seeds of fascist sympathy in your audience.
Yeah.
And that I think is very irresponsible as a content creator or as a public figure, I guess I should say.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I'm all for free speech, so I think if that's something you're gonna say,
Yeah,
go
I mean,
for
I
it,
don't
but
even.
I disagree with it 110%.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole separate thing though that bothers me when you have like when there's a debate going on, right? Like this one,
Yeah.
and someone brings up like, well, obviously they're allowed to say that free speech. It's not a free speech issue. Like no one's questioning
know.
Maptpat's right to say, and this isn't something against you. This is just something that bothers me generally. Like, well, I respect his right to say it. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Everyone does. Everyone in this conversation respects free speech. No one is trying to take away Maptpat's right to be a fascist sympathizer.
However,
But it's
I do
like-
want to say I would make a very good case that maybe we should take away his right to just talking.
Let's
I know-
revoke his tongue privileges.
Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. No, basically, like, this whole episode is basically just saying you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't
Oh, yeah,
make the Empire out to be good guys. We're not saying we don't have the authority to say you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah. But we're just saying, though, it's like, it's not a good thing to do. It's like saying the Nazis were good, which you are legally allowed to say, but it's not exactly a very nice thing to say. It's like it's like how technically I could say the N-word, but I'm not going to, because it's like, not it's not a word I can say.
Yeah. And the other point that I wanted to bring up about why this matters is, like, we've been talking about this a lot throughout the episode, but the Republic bad, therefore Empire good attitude is one that discourages people striving for any kind of better form of governance.
Yeah.
Like Maptpat saying, like, well, the Republic had its flaws, so we should just switch to an authoritarian regime. That's the same attitude. That's the same attitude that, like, Nancy Pelosi has when it's like, well, if we elect Republicans, then it's going to be bad. So, we shouldn't even try to do any kind of left-wing agenda, because all that we have to do is make sure that we tell everyone that Republicans are bad, and then that'll mean that Democrats are good, and then every problem will be solved, and there's going to be no more racism.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. That's it. Both sides very much not the best side to pick.
Yeah,
I just fucking turned to Joe Biden there for a second. Oh my god!
All men and women created by the thing.
I'm sorry, I just had a sniff.
I believe that poor kids are just as bright and talented as white kids.
Yeah. That's the guy we have in charge.
All poor kids and white kids created by the thing.
By the the thing.
You got to play records so the kids hear words.
What? Hold on, I'm sorry.
You don't remember that?
I didn't hear that one. No.
Oh, this is from like early in the primary.
Holy shit.
This is from early on in the primary. Joe Biden, I think it was during one of the debates, he was talking about, this is going to sound weird, but I think he was talking about inner city youth. And he was saying, like,
inner city youth are going to play records so they can hear words.
The problem with a lot of young kids is, they don't develop properly. You gotta play records for them so they can hear words, so they can develop. Hold on, I gotta find the exact quote. Hold on.
What does that mean? Pardon me. What does that mean? You've got to play them records so they can hear words.
Okay, all right. I found the video. All right.
I'm just sitting here dying, Alex. What does he mean by that?
All right. Look under general.
I'm more confused. You know what? I feel like I had a better understanding of when Papa John's gave the vague biblical warning at the beginning of this year.
All right. Watch the video.
Make sure you have a record player on at night for children. Hold on.
Look, talk about education. I propose that what we take is those very poor schools, the Title I schools, triple the amount of money we spend, from $15 to $45 billion a year. Give every single teacher a raise, the equal raise of getting out the $60,000 level. Number two, make sure that we bring in to help the student, the teachers deal with the problems that come from home. The problems that come from home, we have one school psychologist for every 1,500 kids in America today. It's crazy. The teachers are, and I'm married to a teacher. My deceased wife is a teacher. They have every problem coming to them. We have to make sure that every single child does, in fact, have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school, not daycare, school. We bring social workers in.
Make sure every child has a 6, 4, or 5-year-old that goes to school. What?
Into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio. Make sure the television. Make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure
you have the record player turned on. Oh, he was gonna say television. Oh God.
We picked him over Bernie.
My favorite part of that gaffe is how he
As
almost said,
everyone's, like,
leave the television on, but he thought,
Yeah.
no, people don't have televisions. Turn on
They
the
have
record
record
player
player.
so the kids can hear words.
I want to move out of this country. I don't care where I go. I just don't want to be here.
So anyway, the Empire is bad.
Because they turned their record players on.
See, no, the problem with the Empire is that
They don't have
Okay.
record players.
all right, this is a problem with both the Jedi and the First Order. All right, so they abduct children, and then bring them into their order, indoctrinate them. That's fine. I'm on board so far. But the problem lies with the fact that at night they don't leave the record player on, so their child soldiers hear words. That's the problem with the Jedi. Like, okay, fine, don't let them
God.
develop emotionally, but at least let them hear words from the record player at night.
I'm done. I'm going home.
Thank you for listening to Bold of You to Say. If you
Star
like today's
Wars.
episode, leave a like, subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. We got it planned out. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about Spider-Man probably.
And remember,
leave
everybody-
Leave a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. You can do it in app. I think Overcast, you can leave a review in app too. You know your podcast app. If you can, please leave us a review. 5 stars, preferably. I don't know. 5 stars seems like, I don't know.
It's
People will know that we
an app
pressured you into
store.
it. Leave a 4-star review. Leave a solid
If you don't
3.5-star review.
leave a 4-star review, I will go to your house and I will piss inside your mom.
Let's see what else. If we decide to sell merch, I will retroactively put the merch link in our in
Buy
in the
my
description.
shirts or I will break your dad's shins.
Buy Bert on a shirt today
Bert on a
or
shirt?
whenever
Hell
we start
yeah.
selling.
I'm gonna start drawing pictures up there. I should do that while we're doing the podcast.
Yeah. I had an
My hands
idea
something
for a
to do.
shirt that oh yeah, it was Return to Crab. I want to do a shirt with like a crab drawing, but like in your art style.
Oh God, I don't know if I
with
can
the
draw
words
crabs.
"Return to Crab."
Alex, you don't understand. The way my art works is I don't think of what I draw. I just turn my brain off, and then something takes over. That's why none of it is good.
I love
It's
it.
all
I love
premonitions.
your art is manifested from the dark dimension.
I don't think. I just put my hand on a paper, and I just everything
don't
goes
think-
blank.
I just crab.
Bert wasn't. I didn't mean to, and now he's everywhere, Alex. I see him in my mind.
Oh yeah, follow us on social media. We'll have that linked down below. You can follow us on like Twitter and stuff. If you ever wondered what kind of stuff we tweet, that's where you'll find the answer.
I don't really tweet on
I'll have my TikTok posted down in the description. I just posted a new video for the first time in like 3 months, so that's very exciting.
I don't really use my Twitter. I really use my secret Twitter that even Alex has never seen. So y'all are gonna have to keep guessing.
So Gavin doesn't have social media, so you'll have to send him like a smoke signal. But yeah, if you disagreed with anything we said in this episode,
Maptpat.
yeah, Maptpat, if you're listening, hit us up on social
fuck
media.
yourself.
Send Gavin a smoke signal. Leave a comment if you're listening on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, which statistically speaking you aren't, but if you were, hypothetically, you can leave a comment telling us what you want us to cover next. Or you can yell at us if you disagreed with anything, or if you're just having a bad day, just let it out down there. Thank you everyone for listening. Goodbye and good night, because you do have to listen at night.
Yeah,
That's
we've
the
already
law.
established that rule. If you are not, I will fucking eat your soul.
Hold on, what was the rule we established? You have to listen between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Yes. Anytime beyond that or before that is... Yeah, I will...
Yeah, those are business hours.
Did I say I was going to piss in their pants?
I think
You know
you
what?
said you'll piss their
just
pants.
I'll come up with more creative things. That was just for that week. I'll eat your pants this time. I'm really hungry because I don't get Thanksgiving meal, and because of that, you will all be in great danger. You better watch out. You better not cry, because I'm gonna take a bite out of your thigh. Jared's fucking coming to town. I'll see you when you're sleeping. Good night.
Oh, and I wanted to address something about our YouTube comments section. So
What's wrong with
you
our
as
YouTube
a
comment? Hold on.
you as a listener listening right now to this show might notice that in a lot of our episodes there are some bizarre comments. It usually comes from like weird weird profiles with just random names, but we keep getting comments that are like timestamp. It's usually like 45 seconds in. Like this is an example from last week, a clip from a couple episodes ago. It says timestamp 45 seconds in, girls-4-u.online. We've gotten multiples of that comment. I don't know why. If you, the listener,
where are
are the
you
one
getting
leaving
these?
those comments, I don't mind particularly. I just want to know why.
Alex, what episode did you click on? I want to see that.
Hold on, let me go back to it. It was one of the clip. It was the America is a melting pot of European cultures.
I can't see the comment.
Okay, hold on. Let me go to YouTube Studio real quick.
I want to like that comment, Alex. But however, please stop sending us that. I keep getting emails about those same exact things almost, and text messages. Please stop. I don't want to be horny anymore. I just want to be happy.
Yeah, so that's what we will leave you with.
This is
Yeah,
where
other
we
than
leave
that,
you.
subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, because it'll be great. I think we'll have Gavin on again, because he does have this week and next week off.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Goodbye and good night.